Press Start Podcast.
And welcome back to the Press Start Podcast. I'm your host Vic, aka Mr. Never Chillin'. This is episode number 82, and of course I'm joined by my co-host Scobie1,
What is up, everybody? How you doing?
and of course I'm joined by my other co-host Lunatic Oblivion.
Hey guys, welcome back.
Man, it's been a while since we had all three of us here in the same podcast. I mean, it's been like a month,
we
I
were
think.
here. Yeah, you're right. All three of us. It's been a month.
We've finally
I
reached
was
our
here
full
last
power.
weekend.
We've reached our full power. We're unstoppable.
Yeah, we got the three amigos here going to be diving into some games. So let's just dive right into it. We're going to talk about what we've been playing this week. Roger, man, your list is incredibly long, dude. Like, which one of this here do you want to kick it off with? Which one was your favorite so far?
I mean, the games I play are as eclectic as my taste, dude. Every day is something new. Everyone wants to be playing something. This week I played Warzone 2. I played Overwatch 2. We played a little bit of Wolong at some point. I picked back up some other games like Triangle Strategy, game I was hoping to beat, when it came out, 2 years ago now,
Yeah.
a year and a half ago. And I got to a point where I was like, wow, hard is actually hard. Guess
Yeah.
I'll hold off. But no, card games is still a number one thing for me. So I've been playing a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic still. And then I also started my co-op, or not co-op stream, but my viewer request stream from Marshmallow, one of my viewers in my community. He asked that I play Life is Strange True Colors. And honestly, that is worlds different compared to the first Life is Strange. It is just whole different levels.
Is it better?
Better, way better.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope so. I get how long in between games? Like what, 8 years, 10 years, maybe? So it's definitely been a while since the original Life is Strange came out. So it's awesome to hear. It's one of the games I want to check out, and it's on Game Pass. So anybody who wants to check it out, go dive into that. But Scott, you were on the opposite scale of Roger here. You only have two games that you've been playing. How has Hogwarts Legacy been treating you?
Still good. Still good. Still fantastic. Still amazing. Yeah. So I once again I try to find something. Try to find some time to fit it in. New puppy, new problems. So dealing with that, but I always stick with my two that I got right now. And especially with Warzone 2, that always is my staple. Just get in, play a few games, head to bed, something like that. But I see you're kind of right here in the middle with us.
Mhm.
So I'm the yin, he's the yang, and you're just the nice little meld here. So what do you got?
Yeah, man. Obviously, overall, my stream, I recently beat Lost in Random, and I actually thoroughly enjoyed that game. There were some parts, like, I got to the point where there was just too much dialogue in the game. I'm listening to having this conversation. Thank goodness you can skip it. And I'm just like, I could care less what you have to say, bro. Are you going to help me save this, find my sister, or not? Let me keep moving. But overall, game was fun. I liked the mechanics. It looked really good, and it kind of almost sets up like a sequel. With the ending as well, so maybe we'll see how that follows up. But the other game that I'm streaming right now is Atomic Heart. I know Roger, you beat it a couple weeks ago, and I looked it up. I didn't realize I'm about halfway through the game. I'm on mission like 24 out of 40 missions or something like that, and it seems difficult at times, but just trying to get the hang of the mechanics. But where the game really shines is when it leaves that open world and then you're in this like linear environment. You got to go solve these puzzles and accomplish your mission. That's where the game is fun. The combat is not overwhelming. The puzzles are really fun. Even the lock picking, how it's different. Each door may be a different lock picking scenario. It's awesome. But then when you go back in the open world, I'm like, there's just too much. They got the drones that are flying around, the saws, the robots, the cameras that bring in more enemies. I'm like, this is just ridiculously too much. And the world is huge. Like I'm
Yeah.
traveling long distances to get to the next mission, and I'm like, yeah, there's just too much in between here. Like, how can I get here to here as quick as possible with the least amount of encounters? That is my goal. But game just runs beautiful. It looks beautiful. Like it's a really fun game overall, and I'm really excited to beat it. So my stream will be kicking off in the morning. Play for about an hour or two tomorrow to continue that journey. But Roger, we played a little bit more of Wolong since I finally beat that boss, which. Come to find out, numbers came out. Only 33% of all the player base that had played this game have beaten the first boss. 33%. I was one of them until as of recently. We've been playing co-op, and it's been fun. All the other bosses we gone through, we're like,
Yeah. Well, and not that we're just right through it. It's that first boss is kind of the pinnacle of what the gameplay is going to be like, and then it kind of steps you back and then gives you a nice gradual increase because they give you gameplay features that weren't there at the beginning. But yeah, I felt like that first boss was kind of like the iconic like the iconic end of many players who enter a Dark Souls game. They find that one boss and they're just like,
That's
fuck
it.
this game. I'm done.
Yeah,
This game's
it's
shit.
Yeah, yeah.
yep. All of the hidden anger issues, every single last one of them,
And it,
down to your
you know,
core.
it's like one of those things where like I played Sekiro, and like you get to the end of Sekiro and there are like some extra boss fights that are pretty hard, but by the time you get to the end you're like, wow, I feel like I should be ready. Then you get to the final boss fight and it is actually worlds harder than anything you've ever fought to this point. And you're
Okay.
like,
Getting
wow,
your shit
I
pushed
can't
in
even beat
the
the game
entire
now.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't even beat the game. Whereas this one's like, hey, here's what
You
the
can't
end
even
of the
start
game
the
is going to
game.
look like. You know, if you can't beat this, you're not going to want to play the rest of the game. And it's like, okay, I get it. It's kind of a way to, you don't want to feel like you've wasted time playing the game. If you get to that boss and you're like, wow, this is fun, I like this, and
Mhm,
you've lost 30 times, but you're like, I'm going to get up, fight it again, and get through it, then the game might be for you.
mhm.
But if you don't,
Yeah.
then you know early on. You,
Yeah,
you can kind of
The
give up
game
quickly.
just the game just looks at you and adapt.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all it is.
Right.
Adapt.
Dodge.
But moving on to other games I've been playing. Obviously, Overwatch 2. I hop in with you guys over at Lunacy Arts from time to time, and then Lego Star Wars is another game I'm playing off stream. I'm in the middle of a New Hope. Obi-Wan just died, and we're flying back to Yavin 4, and that's
Everyone
where I
dies?
stopped. Yeah, man.
Oh
Spoiler
my
alert.
God.
I mean, the
Wow.
spoiler alert. That's older than us by
Put
20
that in the
years.
chat. Spoiler alerts. Jesus.
But This one to end my games with what like Call of Duty. Obviously, multiplayer has been a lot of fun. Warzone, man, had my two best games ever last night with 19 kills and 17 kills, back-to-back dubs on Resurgence on Ashika Island. After you guys both got off, so that
Well,
was
that's
that
what
was
it
really
is.
fun. Yeah,
That's what it is.
Guess I'm the weak link here. I don't know.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. When for what it's worth, I'm getting sniped by lampposts. I'm getting sniped. I mean, it's the worst.
You're lucky my
Inanimate
production
objects have
skills
it out
are
for you.
not great because I would drop that video on the
Just
stream right now.
Do it. We gotta pull that. We gotta pull that clip up right now and just be like, this is what Vic's dealing with.
Yeah, this is why I can't get dubs with these guys. They're running into fucking light posts.
I made a promise to you. I said one of these days, I promise I'll be sober when I'm playing with you, and I'll have my fine motor skills.
Yeah, but all right, guys. Yeah, let's move on to what we have been playing. So what we could be playing with our game releases this week. So Roger, if you want to run through this here and see what we're potentially playing or not
Okay,
playing.
so we have a new game in the series of Trails. So we have The Legend of Heroes Trails to Azure. The US release date is on the 14th, which is Tuesday. It is a single player game. It's an RPG, a JRPG by Neon Falcom, and it is just your single player role playing game. It's out for the PS4, Switch, and PC, not the PS5.
That's such an
So
interesting
weirdly enough,
combination there.
yeah, and I think because they're trying to release it on Switch day one, they're kind of like, you can play it on your PS5, but it's not next gen. It's just
Yeah.
a normal just casual JRPG. Next up, we've got The Wreck. I know very little on this game, and it also releases on the 14th. It is going to be on the PS5, XNS, 4, 1, Switch, and PC day one. Next up, we've got Wolcen. Wolcen is a Diablo 4 Path of Exile clone. It is a top-down tactical game.
I just want to cover on the Rec real quick. I just
Yeah,
looked
go
it
for
up. The Rec, it's an indie developed game. It's a mature 3D visual novel about sisterhood, motherhood, grief, and survival. So that sounds like a really interesting story, though. So I might
Yeah.
actually give that a go. If that's anything like what was a Memoir Blue, it could be similar to a story game like that.
hmm
So that'd be nice to check out.
And then jumping back in here to Wolcen Blood Trail. This is a game that's sort of like it's pretty much a Path of Exile style clone here. A lot of the bosses are stolen directly from Path of Exile. The gameplay mechanics, the tree. So it itself is a clone of some of those other things. Now, the skill trees are quite interesting because when you build your skill tree, you can actually rotate the different parts of the skill tree around so that when you finish, it goes one it's three different skill trees, then there's six, and then there's it looks like 1, 2, 3, 12. So you have quite a bit of ways to build your character how you want that character to be built. And then depending on how you design the skill tree, it kind of lends itself to gameplay. You also have a mechanic that kind of looks like the ability to transform into giant demons or beasts to do
Hmm.
giant cool attacks.
Yeah, and
And that
just
releases. Go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna say a fun fact in regards to this game. It's being made on CryEngine 3, and for those who don't aren't familiar with that one, that's the engine that made like the Crisis series, like Crisis 1, 2, and 3, or the game Evolve, State of Decay, Kingdom Come, Deliverance, and even the original Far Cry was on the one of the CryEngine, or probably earlier adaptations of the CryEngine. But so that
Mhm.
means the game could, in theory, looked really good because obviously we know Crisis was one of those games that put
And
PCs
the
to the max.
gameplay already
Looking
that's
at
out
the
there
gameplay, it
looks
looks
amazing.
fantastic. It looks
Mhm.
awesome. I was
And
waiting
it
to I was waiting for the wrap up because I was just be like, dude, that looks just looks good.
and it's a game that's been on PC for many years already.
Yeah, 3 years already. Yeah.
This is 3 years already. It is just hitting next gen consoles on the 15th of this week. Next, we've got Anno 1800. Anno 1800 is your Anno game. It's designed by, it's published by Ubisoft. Anno is a series of games that is about maritime trade and sort of on the water civilization. This released for PC back in 2019, but is now getting a next gen console version on the 16th of this week.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a city building real time strategy game. So
Mhm.
I've never played any of these games, but I know it's really popular for people that are into these kind of things.
And then next up, coming out for PlayStation VR 2, we have the Dark Pictures Switchback VR. This releases on the 16th. It is a shooter game. Um, Not much about that.
Yeah, it's just a horror game. It's part of
Yeah.
that the Dark Pictures anthology that I know that I mentioned to you. I want to eventually play through
Hmm.
because it is a co-op experience with up to like I think with like 8 or 5 friends I think that you can play. So it's definitely a series that I want to play. Obviously, I'm never going to play this one because I'm not getting the PSVR 2. So, but overall, Dark Pictures is a pretty solid horror franchise.
And then lastly, we have two games ending the week out with our big hitters. We've got Bayonetta Origins.
Hmm.
It is releasing on March 17th. This is the prequel to the Bayonetta series. It is about the youth of Cereza and the lost demon, which is essentially the dark power that kind of she uses in all the Bayonetta games. This is the origin of her and her powers, and it's a very storybook-esque style game.
Yeah.
It is top down. Cereza herself cannot fight, but the dark demon is to fight for her. She uses her magical powers to kind of influence the battle so that the demon can help protect and destroy your enemies.
Has an interesting art style.
Yes, that's storybook style
Hmm.
look. And then lastly, we have WWE 2K23. This is launching for 5, XS, 4, Xbox One, and PC on the 17th.
Just can't still can't see who's on the cover though.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's a blank cover,
it
dude.
was
Yeah.
yeah, it was very bold to just put 2K23 on there. It
Yeah.
was it was a bold move. I think it's paying off though, because it lets you imagine like maybe your favorite wrestler is on there. Maybe and you just it kind of lets you. It's part of the immersion experience, I believe.
Yeah. So, Roger, are you excited for these games? I know you're a fan of the Bayonetta series. Is this going to be a game you pick up with the Origins
Yeah,
collection?
actually, Disney, when she saw it last year at the Game Awards, was like, "Oh my God, that's so beautiful!" And I was like, well, "You want to play it?" She's like, "Yes," and I was like, "All right, we'll get it, we'll play it." It's something that I'm super excited to play because it looks interesting. It's a nice diverge from the typical Bayonetta gameplay.
Hmm.
But what also is really interesting to me is WWE 2K23 because a bunch of the guys from the Lunacy Arts group want to have a in-person WWE stream where we just play the WWE game and we build our own dumbass wrestlers. So I'm
Oh
kind of
yes.
excited.
This sounds like an
Here,
event that we got to do for Street Fighter 6 too, so we can come
here
up with
for
those wacky
a
characters.
yes, sir. The craziest hair.
But what about you, Scott? Any of these games stand out to you that you would want to maybe pick up and add to your two game list a week?
In my two game, hey, it's a hefty list. Okay, the list might not be long, but those are written in bold and italic, and they're written in Sharpie. They're written in Sharpie markers, so I don't have a lot of room left. But if I did, it would be Wilson. It looks good. Full disclosure, I didn't know that was already on PC. I looked at this and I was like, well, I was hyped for a game, and then now, I might pick it up. I was looking at it once we were talking about it. The online, offline, rolling through, like he said, some of the mechanics where you got that turn wheel for your attributes and your talents and stuff like that. Looks fun. It looks great too. Yeah, I mean, I would have to say it's gonna be Wilson.
Awesome. And then as for me though, I think the wreck is probably the one that really stands out here to me, just because of the emotional like attachment to that game that could play out, and just I don't know. I really like a game that has like a really solid story that you can really feel potentially connected to and like really understand like oh shit like that was deep or that was dark, and you don't realize what like how certain situations that people end up going through. But yeah, all these other games not really a big fan of. Obviously the VR game not going to play it. Bayonetta never really played any of those. Wilson maybe the second game I might be interested in, but Anno 1800 not for me. Trails of Azure. I don't really play many JRPGs that often. Roger, you talked me into playing near Replicant or whatever. That was fun, but maybe I'll come through or even check out you guys' stream when you do
My
WWE.
my my man quit without getting all the endings on a near game. Of course,
The
he's
credits
like,
rolled.
I want
The credits rolled,
the
baby.
credits rolled. No, those weren't the credits. Those were fake. Okay,
Yeah, I
fake
got the
news.
achievement for beating the game.
Beating an ending. It said.
Yeah, I wasn't about to go through the rest of them. There's no way, especially with how many there were. But enough of the game releases. Not too much of a big week there. Let's dive into our industry news, where we actually have some pretty loaded information here in regards to that Microsoft Activision Blizzard deal.
Good
Basically,
content.
yeah, this is weekly content. I mean, dun dun. Uh,
Yeah.
Microsoft confirms following merger closing, all PlayStation exclusive benefits will be made available on Xbox and PC. And basically, a lot of those benefits include like all the tier skips that PlayStation were getting. You're going to get those back paid to you, additional XP, because like PlayStation gets additional XP for playing in a party with friends. I don't know if you guys knew that, but now we'll get that too. We're going to get the additional XP. Combat packs are like bundles, free bundles they were getting like once a month. Certain in-game character customizations, whatever that means, and discounted bundles. I mean, I don't want to pay $25 a bundle if I can pay like half the cost like PlayStation. So that'll be
Mhm.
awesome to see. And PlayStation was also getting like year-long like locked content, like game modes, like straight up game modes. That's not going to happen anymore. Everybody's going to get the same content day one. And on speaking of that, though, moving down the list here in regards to like PlayStation head, Jim Ryan said that he's only interested in blocking the merger, and I quote what he said: "I don't want a new Call of Duty deal. I just want to block your merger." And I was just like, "That's
Love
pretty
that. You
sad."
gotta respect. You gotta respect it though. You
Yeah.
gotta respect it.
And why I wanted to bring up PlayStation next here is because Microsoft also confirmed that it will let Sony bring all Call of Duty titles day one to the PlayStation Plus service. Basically, their Game Pass subscription. So like, it it literally just balances the game. Like everyone has the same opportunity day one to buy or even just pay for the subscription service to boost their subscription service. Like they're looking out for Sony now for subscription services here. Like this is just mind blowing with this kind of information. And Sony's like, nah, we don't want your 10-year deal. And I found out some more details listening to another podcast of why it's a 10-year deal is because they think that the PlayStation 5 or the next gen, like the current gen that we're in now, should last about 10 years. We can't cover you for another generation because we don't know what that game's going to be capable of. They broke it down to like, what if the game is so far advanced that like it can't be supported in certain ways, we can't promise you it to be run on the PS6 if we can't run it the same way as it does on the Xbox because it's that drastically different. So they can't just make promises on something that they don't even know exists yet. So that's
Which
why
is
it's
a
set
good
at 10 years.
forethought. That's a good forethought at this point because we're getting into that arch where things are just everything's gonna double, everything's gonna keep going, everything in 5-10 years, it's gonna be completely different.
Exactly. Some more news. Microsoft also said that Call of Duty Mobile will be phased out over time as Warzone Mobile will replace it. And this is because Warzone Mobile is or not Warzone Mobile. Call of Duty Mobile is developed by Teamy Studios, which is a subsidiary of Tencent. So it's not even owned by Activision Blizzard, and soon to be Microsoft. So Warzone Mobile will have multiplayer in it. It's just going to be called Warzone Mobile, which blows my mind why that's a thing. Maybe it's a copyright issue or any of that kind of stuff where they couldn't call it Call of Duty Mobile again.
Misleading. It would
Yeah,
be misleading if they're like, "Oh, this is Call of Duty Mobile," and they're like, "Where's all my stuff from Call of Duty Mobile?" And they're like,
right.
"Sorry, you don't get all that. It's gone."
Yeah, so that'll be interesting there. And then also another thing is they claim that they can get Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2 to run natively on the Switch, which is kind of like I don't think so, buddy. And to run it at the same fidelity on those, I just don't see it. But I guess they said that the engine that it runs on has the capability of like downscaling it in a way where it still looks the same, but it can still run on like smaller platforms like that. So,
Until it melts through your desk like thermite. But yeah,
so we'll
I
see if
don't.
that ever if that's going to be true or not. But I still am a firm believer that if they're putting it on the Switch, it's going to be a cloud-based version, or they're just saying this because they know that the Switch 2 or the Switch Pro is around the corner. Like that would be my only guess there.
I
Um,
mean, they already have it in some form on. We were just talking about Call of Duty Mobile,
mm,
right? So I mean, will they do it? Yeah. Will it look as good, run as well? I don't know, but
it's definitely going to be a big question mark. But to sum up all of our news this week in regards to this deal is Microsoft has confirmed that Game Pass prices will not increase following this acquisition. So all of the games that Activision Blizzard are going to go on Game Pass whenever the deal goes through. Prices are not going to go up. That is actually fantastic news because obviously I'm actually surprised they're not going up because they're bringing so much to the service that you're not going to raise the prices. I'd be okay if it went up like another $5 a month for the amount of content we're getting. Day one is insane. I no longer have to pay for an $80 Call of Duty game. I don't have to buy Battlefield anymore. I don't have to buy Halo. Like I don't have to buy any game anymore. I literally buy 3 games a month or three games a year, and I'm good. You know what I'm saying?
you're just
Like
gonna you gotta buy hard drives, but
yeah, just or
I
just
mean,
or
fine.
but the thing is like when I play a game, I beat it, I delete it. I remove it off the hard drive. I don't need it there anymore. So like
Yeah.
I used to have a look. I have tons of these things, external hard drives, sitting right here in front of me.
That was a lot of clacking that I just heard when you were putting those down.
He's just like, I got
Click, click,
10
click.
in here. Sorry,
Yeah,
guys.
too many of them.
That's a lot.
But enough of the specific Activision Blizzard news here. Roger, we have some unfortunate news with Blizzard themselves.
Yeah, Blizzard's losing their vice president, John Spector. John Spector said that this is his term at Blizzard is done. He's decided to pursue new endeavors, and so hopefully we don't get another Jeff Kaplan scenario here, where one of the core members of the Overwatch community just decides to leave. They're done working on it, and the game goes to shit because that's kind of what happened when we lost Jeff Kaplan. Like the community lost somebody who was really there to make sure things were done right. So I'm interested to see what happens in Overwatch 2 after the vice president leaves. Where do we go from here?
Right, because like how much of an impact he had on all of the decisions that were actually going on, whether it's the updates, the content flow, how soon these updates come out, how much content we're getting at one time. Like you never know how much of an impact one person really has until they're no longer there. So that'll be interesting to see. But I'm really eager to see where he goes. Like where's he going next? And is he going to open up his new studio, or is he taking a break? Is he going to come back? Like that's going to be the big question mark because then whoever gets him next are going to be in for a really nice gem, I think.
No, yeah, definitely. I think Overwatch 2, we've gotten to the point where it's kind of polished. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel as bad as it did day one. Overwatch 2 felt like a watered down version of Overwatch. Like we lost so much and gained nothing. Like they were like, "Oh, we made a mistake here. We made a mistake here. We're going to add legacy credits to the battle pass so you can now buy older skins so you don't have to pay for them. Oh, we have all this stuff that we're adding. We're doing collaborations, you know. It gives us a place. Yeah, Overwatch 2 is in a great place, Spooky. I 100% agree. We have so much going for us now.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And to me, Overwatch 2 is just, I mean, it's still a reskinned Overwatch 1 game.
But
They could have
yeah,
just left it as Overwatch and just made it like a live service game, like how Rainbow Six Siege is. Rainbow Six Siege
yeah.
will
Yeah.
be supported for 18 years plus. It's not going to change the name. There's not a Rainbow Six Siege 2, well, not yet, but they could have just kept it Overwatch and just updated it. You know what I'm saying? They
Yeah,
could
I
have
never
brought it to
quite
a new engine
understood.
or whatever they
Yeah,
did.
I never quite understood that push for the Overwatch 2. But luckily, I didn't play it for so long. When I did finally get back into it with you guys, it was already polished and in a great spot, like Spooky was saying. But I'm seeing Disney saying maybe the new guys can be less money hungry.
Could be.
So
Yeah, I mean that happens with a lot of companies. They're like, well, why would I keep this old person around paying them this much money if I could hire a new person and pay him this much money and get the same outcome or less quality. But Roger, in another company here, Ubisoft had some interesting news that I think that you made a good point into our chat about.
It kind of reflects where Ubisoft is. Ubisoft, what have they done recently that's been whoa? What has wowed you from Ubisoft in the past 6 months?
In the past 6 months, nothing.
How about the past year?
Probably not since 2020, 2021 maybe. When
That's a lot of time.
Yeah, since I
So
played Valhalla and Far Cry 6, because those I enjoyed both of those games.
the
but like
pandemic's biggest victim was Ubisoft content.
yeah, it's crazy how bad their content has been for a while. And so Ubisoft has confirmed they are going through a strategic reorganization and they are going to be closing down some of their European branches. So Ubisoft is shrinking, you know. It goes to show that maybe their kind of formula is garbage. Like
Yeah,
people don't want their shit anymore. And when people don't have to pay for their games anymore, they have things like Game Pass. You know, why pay $60 for a crappy Ubisoft game when you can pay $15 for Game Pass and get 100 okay to great games?
right. It's definitely a no-brainer there. And if you want to round out our industry news here with Lince Works, which most people
And
might not know about.
yeah, so a small studio, Lince Works, they made the Origami series, and that's all they've made, which was two games.
Hmm.
They're sort of
Stealth
a
action
nice
game, like
yeah, it's
Assassin's
a
Creed
it's
nod.
yeah, it's kind of like a cartoonish comic book style Assassin's Creed game where you play as a ninja. Well, the Origami series has kind of run its course, and the studio is closing down as they have no new projects, and they haven't had one for a while.
Well, they had Aragami 2 years ago, I think. Came to Game Pass day one.
That's
It,
quite a bit of time ago.
yeah, yeah, for sure. It's just I've never checked them out. I know it's on my backlog. It's added to my play later on Xbox. But it's sad to see that some of these studios. So hopefully these guys can move on to a better studio and find some new work really quickly because I know a lot of studios are always hiring.
Yes, sir.
Always.
But let's move on here to our gaming news. We're gonna have Scott kicking us off with a pretty big announcement. I mean, we haven't seen something like this in over 15 years.
Oh man, absolutely hyped. Bandai Namco announced the Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 4. Uh,
Let's get it.
been 15 years. It's a great series. I remember like growing up playing the first Budokai 2. I fucked with Budokai 3 when it came out. It's just always been something that has been like a consistent like, oh okay, well there's a new Budokai, so obviously I gotta go get that.
Right.
I have to play that. The last one, it was kind of a weird, kind of open world ish sort of thing where you kind of like flew into some other like alternate universe fights, things like that. I'm really interested to see what they do with this. I mean, it's the story never changes, right? So I mean, we have additions since then. We've had some pretty good content since Budokai 3. So I can't wait to see how they're gonna pull in. Obviously, super some of the movie stuff that they did here recently. It's gonna be awesome. I'm super hyped for this. I can't wait. It's huge. Literally the minute it announced, it was all over. I think it actually announced last week during the
Hmm.
podcast when I was here in chat. I didn't make it in time due to work and a couple other things, but immediately as I watched that, I saw one one share, and then everything was shares. And then I started getting notifications that Budokai was announced, and I started getting notifications from Reddit that Budokai was announced, and
Yeah,
it was just all over the place. The world is hyped for this, and I'm right there with them.
yeah. I remember playing the first two on the PS2 back in the day, and that was probably the only Dragon Ball Z games I've ever played, to be honest with you. And they were just fun. They were just fighter beat 'em up games.
Yeah, they absolutely were. It was fantastic. The left right
Yeah.
first two,
I
great.
mean, I mean, we're just continuing the resurgence of the renaissance of fighting games. Like we know Tekken 8 is coming out, Street Fighter 6 is coming out, Budokai 4 is coming out. Like there's just so many fighting games out. Like right now is the time to be a fighting game fan. Like there's a
Well,
plethora to
unless
play.
you played All Stars, that was that kind of fell. I
Yeah,
mean,
just a bit. Roger, you excited
Shaggy
for
was
this?
OP.
Honestly, I haven't played a Dragon Ball Z game in a while that was really like amazing. I
Yeah.
did enjoy some of the previous ones back in 2010s. We had some of the Dragon Ball Z World games where you went around to different parts in the story and you did some fun stuff. But honestly, I haven't played one in years, and I'm hoping that this one's good because the last few didn't rate very well
Hmm.
compared to some of the other fighter games at the time. I think for me, my favorite part of Dragon Ball Z is when the game became more free roam, more open, more
Hmm.
instead of just side by side fight.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And we recently had a Dragon Ball Z come out. It was with Dragon Ball Z Breakers or whatever. It was like that 6v1 villain versus the six like non
Yeah,
superpower
Everyone's got to have
regular
their
humans.
Dead by Daylight kind of
Because it
game.
was like all the villains from Dragon Ball Z were trying to hunt down like regular civilians, basically. So you're playing as
Hmm.
like Boo and Frieza, I think, bunch of
Hell.
those ones. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. But man, we had three big events this past week that came out with big announcements. We're gonna have Roger kick it off here with the Paradox announcement show that happened. What happened at
So
this event?
So Paradox announced their roadmap for the next year. We've got huge news. We've got City Skylines 2 coming out. This is essentially the successor to SimCity. This
Pretty
is
much.
this is the city building game with, truly just a really well thought out city design. It's a fun game. It's super moddable, which is awesome.
Yeah.
The fact that this game was supported for what, on the on on Steam, the workshop literally carried this game for many people and it just allowed for so much, which is cool. Now we're going to get the second installment later this year. We also have an announcement for Crusader Kings 3. We're going to get our new expansion called Tours and Tournaments. This expansion will allow you to go around your realm and, duel more with your vassals in their own land as opposed to just in your court. You can host and fight in grand tournaments, plan royal weddings, so it gives more to that whole character development that you get with Crusader Kings.
That sounds really
We've also
cool.
got a new
You
game,
did
a
you play
new
Crusader
series.
Kings 3?
3? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Did
yeah,
you
yeah. I
enjoy it? Is this
played it.
something that you're gonna go back to?
Honestly, I think Crusader Kings 3 has a lot to catch up on Crusader Kings 2 with the amount of content we're enabled.
Hmm.
But Crusader Kings 3, I think their first DLC wasn't great. It kind of all it did was add a new layer of gameplay to just waste all of your money that you had so much of because the game really had a hard time. So there's some balancing issues. Paradox usually they drop unbalanced, unpolished, but they have a lot of good features because it's usually an engine update to their game.
Hmm.
But then they're like, oh, we've screwed up all these features and now we've got to go back and fix it. It's the same
Okay.
thing that happened with their previous game, Victoria 3. That game on launch is so mismanaged that it will take another year or two for it to finally come into its stride. But by the time it does, it's going to be a really polished game. Paradox also announced a brand new game called Lamplighters League. It is a XCOM clone that is going to deal with sort of that Indiana Jones style theme with magic, and as well as that sort of time frame that we look for in an Indiana Jones, a traditional Indiana Jones. It's developed by Harebrained Schemes, who made the Shadowrun trilogy, which is awesome.
Yeah.
This is I know, for example, Spooky out here loves the Shadowrun trilogy, and for them to now be making a new game in unison with Paradox is awesome.
Yeah, that's
It
good
is
news
going to
there.
be based in 1933. You'll have combat like XCOM, and you'll also have story choices that allow you to influence the fate of the world.
That's pretty cool.
Next thing up is your Europa Universalis 4 is getting a new expansion after a few years of not getting anything. It is the Domination expansion. This will be a reworking of the Ottoman Empire, Ming China, France, Russia, uh, as well as Japan and a few others will be getting large updates to their story tree that also allows for alternate history development where we go into more of the fantasy where what if they did X instead of Y, where
Mm.
would they go from here. There will also be new military units for several nations, political estates to manage, as well as historical events being added. Some things that were not in previous iterations of Europa that will help to influence how the world developed to what it is today. Because that's what Paradox prides themselves on with their historical games is events that change the influence of the game. So you sometimes have to play with that in mind. Like you could be doing really well, but France is always going to have a revolution. When the revolution happens, whether you own everything or nothing, that revolution is going to come. So be prepared. It's the same thing with China having to deal with, the internal struggles, Japan dealing with the fact that it is a fragmented, splintered nation, and certain events that will happen outside of their control just
Hmm.
happen.
Yeah. This was another game you played before, right? Europa.
Europa, yeah,
Yeah.
I love all Paradox games. I'm a huge fan of Paradox.
With this
You
update
can
and
ask me
expansion,
most of them.
is this going to be something you go back and check out to see the new updates and the changes?
I would love to play Europa. Honestly, I would host a Europa night, not a night, maybe a few weeks where we play literally a game of Europa. We can play together, you can play, against each other. It is just a fascinating game and it has so much to it. It is one of the best strategy games that I've ever played.
That's awesome. What next is here on the list? Because there's a couple more things.
Next, we've got Surviving the Aftermath. This is so we kind of with Paradox, they choose an era and they only make one game for that era. We have Crusader Kings, which is the medieval era. We have Victoria 3, which is the Renaissance up into the 1800s. And then we have EU4, which is after the medieval era ends, up into the Renaissance and through the Enlightenment and things like that. We have Surviving the Aftermath. This is a game that is all fiction based off of just what could happen, and it's kind of a Mad Maxian nuclear Holocaust style game where the world has been destroyed by humankind has kind of polluted the world beyond
Hmm.
recognition. Roving bands of bandits exist, and you have to try to kind of bring society back together. We're getting a new expansion for this game. So this is one of Paradox's smaller games. It looks really good still, and it reviews very, very well. We're going to get the Rebirth expansion, which now allows you to terraform Earth. So nuclear fallout, global warming destroys parts of the planet. You can now try to fix the planet. So it
That's pretty
allows
cool.
for, a future where mankind can try to bring the Earth back from destruction.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool feature there.
And then next, we've also got two of Paradox's smaller indie titles. We're gonna get Knights of Pen and Paper 3. This is their pop culture infused RPG, a turn-based RPG that came out, I think in 2010s was the original version. It was kind of like it was a roguelike game, turn-based roguelike that you kind of dealt with themes from Dungeons and Dragons, but or I should say not D&D, but tabletop RPGs in general.
Hmm.
Next, we also have Mechabellum, which is a sci-fi auto battler. It is just you pit armies of mechs, robots, and heavy weapons against each other, and you try to destroy each other in an auto battler style format. And then we've got Across the Obelisk, which is Across the Obelisk Wolf Wars. It's the first expansion for last year's deck building RPG game that Paradox helped to publish.
Cool. And I know this one's here pretty big. I know you played a lot of Stellaris here.
And then the next one we have is Stellaris. So Stellaris is the game after we leave Earth. What happens if mankind was in the space? This is their space opera
Yeah.
RPG or not RPG, but their turn-based strategy. Stellaris Overlord and Stellaris First Contact have been really revealed for their release dates, which are actually last week.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow, or not tomorrow, Tuesday. So we're going to be getting some new Stellaris content to add to your game last week and this week, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then we've got an additional thing, which is this is big.
That's
This
a
is
teaser here,
huge.
yeah.
We have not seen something like this in many years. A competitor for The Sims. Paradox is developing a project with Tectonic called Life by You. It is a Sims competitor. We will see a full reveal of this game next Tuesday, not this Tuesday, March 20th, next Tuesday. It is being developed by Rod Humble, who is known for his work on The Sims and Second Life.
Yeah. Great work experience there. You can fill out that resume and you have no issues. Yeah, so that was awesome. Paradox had a pretty big event there. Lot of great content coming over the next few months, over the next year, like you were saying. But moving on to our next event, Scott, if you want to talk about Nacon Connect 2023.
And so Nacon Connect 2023. So they pushed out like an announcement for about 15 games. We're getting showcased for that. And there's some super highly anticipated ones. But some of the ones that they've put out, I think we got Raven's Watch. So that's going to be an upcoming top-down dark fantasy roguelite. You're getting transported to a place called Reverie. This is the dark world of dreams to battle vicious nightmares plaguing the land. This is from the creators of Cursed of the Dead Gods. That'll be out on April 6th. Next up, they announced Capes, which is a turn-based tactics game. So it's going to be kind of like a build your own team of heroes. That's going to be coming out on the Xbox One in 2023. That's basically all they gave us there. Ad Infinitum looks really, really good, super creepy. It's a psychological horror video game. So you are a German soldier who they said on the site you are plagued with basically like you're plagued with thoughts of the Great War. So I mean, obviously around World War One era, and you're kind of stuck between two different realities. There's gonna be more coming in on that, but that's expected to come to Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, and PC in September of this year. Next up, we had Clash, The Artifacts of Chaos, and it's a new action fantasy title and third installment of the Xenoclash series. That'll be out on March 9th. War Hospital, which is going to be a simulator title where you are managing a medical camp in a war zone. Pretty gruesome, probably, but basically, wounded soldiers are going to be coming in. They're going to be coming in from the battlefield. It's your job to make sure that they're seen to, deciding who needs help the most. So you're going to be prioritizing. You're going to be managing all that, and it's in a war zone, not the war zone, because I'm sure I would already be able to tell you what the blueprints to that hospital are looking like if it was just Warzone.
Hey, we appreciate the recent follow, DeBroza dying.
Hey,
I couldn't,
hey, love that.
so we definitely appreciate that. But go ahead, Scobie.
Yeah, no, love that. Thanks for the follow. Next up, we're looking at Gangs of Sherwood. This is going to be obviously set in the Robin Hood world. But it's going to be a little bit different, darker telling of that. So that's going to be coming out as well.
Fun fact.
And then go ahead.
Fun fact: me and Roger been to the Sherwood Forest.
Ooh,
So we got to
I
see
was.
it
Not as
in Britain.
special as you think.
Yeah,
But don't tell me that.
yeah, it's not
You
bad.
take all the illusion right out of it.
We got to shoot the bow and arrow in the woods and do the whole experience. It was fun. Learned a little bit about the story a little bit more.
Love that. There's a restaurant called Loxley's that's loosely based off of
Yeah,
that. So I've
in
been
Lancaster,
there. It's
Lancaster,
basically the same thing,
down in
right?
Lancaster, right off 30.
Yeah, right off of 30.
Yeah.
But the next two ones are the big games that we're getting that people are very very excited for. Lord of the Rings Gollum. So they did a story. They did a story trailer and they did an update. If you're not familiar with that, this is gonna be. We already know the story. We already know what's happening, but we get to see what's happened with Gollum in between times where he may or may not have been in that actual piece of story. So they did some stuff where it looked like he was coming out of Barad-dûr. And I'm excited to see how that's gonna go. We're obviously gonna see some familiar faces in there: Gandalf, Thranduil, yeah, the Witch King or the Nazgul. So excited for that. And then another huge one is gonna be RoboCop Rogue City.
Yeah.
So this is obviously based off of RoboCop. And we were talking about it a little bit before the show here. Yeah, no, I just want to make sure that people understand that this was based off of RoboCop, the RoboCop.
Yeah.
No, so the
Not
movie,
a RoboCop, but the
no,
RoboCop.
the
Oh, okay, all right.
RoboCop, the RoboCop. And we were speaking a little bit earlier before this, where you're saying it looks basically like Cyberpunk on steroids.
Yes.
So, and when I was looking at it, that was pretty much spot on. That was pretty much spot on. And, I can't make a better description for it because it is Cyberpunk on steroids, as long as it doesn't have the same bugs. We'll see how that goes. But that is also going to be coming out in September 2023. So, looks like with RoboCop, Lord of the Rings, and then that Ravens watching April 6th, and then the Ad Infinitum coming out in September 2023. I'll probably you might see some more games on my list after September. You'll see some.
Make some
maybe,
noise, everyone.
maybe.
Make some noise.
You might
take
maybe.
them a year.
You will. Yeah. It only takes me a year and a half.
To get,
You will
a couple more.
absolutely see Lord of the Rings Gollum when that comes out, and there's a 99% chance you'll be seeing RoboCop the day that drops as well on my ever growing list.
Yeah, and from 2 it'll go to 3.
Exactly. Hey, you know what? Maybe 4. It might be 4, dude.
Don't
We'll
want to
see.
put too much on your plate
Yeah.
now.
You know what? I feel like I got to stretch those legs. Get 4 games on there and just go from it.
Yeah.
But that really wraps up the Nacon Connect. Like I said, lots of hype coming around Lord of the Rings, RoboCop, and then I'm kind of looking here. The Ad Infinitum looks creepy. Can't wait for it.
And Debrozadian, I'm probably butchering your name pretty terrible. I need to pump up that backlog.
Brosidon.
That's Brosidon.
Oh, Brosidon. Sorry. Debrozadian.
I just let him sit there and beat himself
Yeah,
up.
just-
He's like, I don't know how to pronounce things.
No. Yeah, definitely pumping up the backlog. I mean, mine's massive. I'm still playing through games that released 10, 12 years ago, catching up. I'm like, yo, this game was actually really fucking good. I
Dude,
missed out.
I just started piling my Switch games next to me that I need to beat, and I'm just like,
As
it's
a
a pile
reminder,
of shame now. Like, I'm
it's a
just like,
reminder,
oh.
I'll get to those. Because I can't tell you, like, how many of these games that are over here that I've never played that I bought and just put on the shelf. It's crazy. But
Says imagine not being Greek.
yeah, right. And moving on though, I said there was 3 events, and I'm going to end here with the Capcom spotlight here. They had some pretty solid showcasing here. Obviously, Exo Primal is coming on July 14th, so midsummer game here. It's coming to Game Pass day 1. And this game, it seems interesting. I feel like I want to check this out. If it's like a cooperative game and you're fighting on a world that are nothing but dinosaurs, it reminds me of like Ark Survival, but like a little bit more futuristic. But it almost has like Second Extinction. Yeah, Second Extinction is the game that we played. That was very similar to
we
this.
played for like a week, and they were like, wow,
Nah, that was
this is
trash.
boring.
Yeah, so but this one's made by Capcom. Better budget, better developers. Maybe we'll get something good here. But the one that probably has the gaming community probably the most hype for
And it's
we're
so
around the corner.
close.
Yes, sir. Resident Evil 4 remake is
Yes,
right around the
sir.
corner. In 12 days on March 24th, it is dropping. But if you want a taste of it now, just to tease yourself a little bit, the Chainsaw demo is available now. Go check that out.
Dude, my day,
God,
that's my day off. It comes out on my freaking day off, and I'm like, I guess I know what I'm doing on the 24th now.
Let's
And yeah,
go.
I'm just
cancel
gonna
whatever plans you
stream
had.
12 hours of that.
Hey, bro, Sidon,
Absolutely.
looks like you've played it already, so that's good to hear. I hope you're really enjoying it there. I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm gonna check it out. Because I want to play through all of the Resident Evil games again. It's just been so long. I haven't played Resident Evil probably since five. No, I bought six, the worst one in the series. That one was
Yeah,
god
six
Yeah,
awful.
sucked.
yeah.
I remember playing five with you, Roger, and we really enjoyed five. But four was like that pinnacle, like man, this shit's good. And now that they're remaking it from the ground up, it's probably going to give me that Dead Space feeling. Like, damn, this is a really good fucking game. I'm glad they remade it. And
Four was
time to
so
get it.
good. It really was. I still gotta say my favorite was three, which was Nemesis. That game was so immersive that when I was done playing, I realized somebody else had shit in my pants. Uh, so, so I'm excited to see how they do with with number four because that I mean I love Leon as a character. I loved that storyline, and I am just excited to see how
Oh,
this comes out.
is this going to
Dude,
be a game
I
that's on
just
your list? Is it going to be three in
This is
12 days?
gonna be on my list. It's gonna be three in about 12 days, buddy. Yes.
dude, honestly, like for me, playing Resident Evil now versus like when I was a kid, because like I didn't play Resident Evil as a kid. I didn't get a chance, didn't have some of the consoles to play on, and like I just I played the recent one, played some of the I played one, two, and three, and like honestly, I gotta say they're so good. Like
Yeah.
playing in the police station, you walk up to the helicopter and he literally lifts it, and you're like, oh, okay,
Okay.
that's normal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're like, guess I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Also, why are my pants wet? I don't understand why my pants are wet. They shouldn't be.
Wear brown pants. That's all I was told. You know, wear brown pants. Nobody
You'll
will
be
know.
good. Exactly. But another huge game, guys. Monster Hunter Rise. Obviously, the announcement of the DLC Sunbreak was a while ago, but it has the official release date, April 28th. So it's right around the corner here. So in about a month and a half, it'll be here. So I'm not sure if there's many Monster Hunter fans. I know Philipper usually plays the Monster Hunter games. I know he's been playing Rise over on Game Pass, so maybe he'll be really excited for that. But another game here. This one's interesting because this game was a Nintendo DS game, and it's being revived for Xbox, and it's coming out on June 30th. Called Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. I personally have never heard of this game, and I probably won't check it out. But it's cool to see that they're reviving those classic games that I can't say
This
that
is
not barely
this
anyone
is
played.
this is a smaller known game, but is one of my friend's favorite games.
Who
This is actually one of my friend's most play like he loves this game, and I
who
was
was
like,
that?
I've never heard of this.
Marshmallow?
This was Flankman.
Plankman, okay. Okay, yeah,
Mhm.
that's awesome. Yeah, so that's awesome to see that he'll be able to relive this game, but maybe in higher fidelity now that it's coming to a much powerful console than the little DS that we used to play on back in the day. But to round out the Capcom event, Street Fighter 6, we mentioned it a little bit ago. It has its official release date coming on June 2nd, mid early summertime, not even summer, I guess. Right before summer. So man, like I said, it's time to be a fighter fan, fighting game fan. Like it's going to be an awesome time, and the fact that the way that you can customize characters in Street Fighter 6 just has me mind blown because you can form and shape shift and make them look however you want, whether it's a
Man,
realistic human
Real,
or
real
somebody who's
fucked up
not.
shit, dude. All
Yeah,
I'm saying.
I'm gonna make some weird shit. I'm just saying it. I'm
like this
gonna
is
make.
the most advanced like character customization I've like have ever seen. I'm
My
not even
dude's
gonna lie.
skipping leg day and not missing arm day. That's all I'm saying.
It's gonna be fucking
Going, I'm
ripped.
Dude's
going,
gonna be like a Hercules squeaky doll.
I'm going biggest nipples I can make. Biggest nipples I can make on a man, and then I'm gonna put a shirt on him, and I'm just gonna tell you all how big his nipples are, and then you're never gonna see him. You're just gonna know that there's just big,
Just no. They're pancakes.
there's absolute dinner plates on
Oh,
this
man.
guy.
So big week in gaming for event wise, but there was some news also that came out this week. So Scott, if you want to take the next one here for us.
So huge announcement for anybody who's ever played Tamagotchi or is still very concerned about their Nintendogs. You are gonna get a shot at redemption. So Niantic had announced a game called Peridot, which they are basically claiming as a blend of Pokemon Go, Tamagotchi, and Nintendogs. And when you look right at it, it says discover a fantastical world of Peridot. An upcoming real-world adventure pet game where you can care for one-of-a-kind adorable creatures, raise them to adulthood as you explore the world together, and re-diversify their species. So that's going to be coming out on May 9th, and hopefully a lot of people will get some closure that
From
that they so well deserve or
the
need
Nintendogs.
uh, from the Tamagotchis and Nintendogs that are
Yeah.
probably sitting in a box in an attic somewhere.
Like, hello?
Yeah,
Anyone?
yeah. So I mean, can't wait to see a lot of healed trauma coming out
That
in May,
sounds like
which
a
is
lot
gonna
of
be
potential to abandon a fake pet again. Gonna have PTSD from it again. Like, oh no, I can't do this.
people are gonna be rushing home because they forgot to feed their whatever.
Yeah, whatever
Yeah,
they're called in there.
yeah. So we have another announcement though that we were looking for from Rocksteady,
Yeah.
Vic. What do we
Suicide
got there?
Squad, Kill the Justice League is going to get delayed indefinitely due to the backlash from the community. And this backlash comes from the PlayStation State of Play event where they did the like 20 minutes of gameplay and they were like, community was like, this is pretty shitty, guys. What are you doing? And they were like, oh, you broke our heart. Let's go
Yeah.
redo the game, basically. So that's good to see that they're listening to the community before this game comes out and can go make some
Sonic
changes.
the video game is what I'm getting here.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
much blowback. They just like,
Yeah.
well, we're done.
Rod,
We'll be back.
Roger, we
Well, after they had shit the bed so hard on that release, I mean, we were kind of waiting to see what they were gonna be doing with this. It's like when we cyberbullied Sonic.
yeah,
Yeah,
The
that's what I
Sonic-
mean. Like, we cyberbullied them into submission.
yes,
Yes.
another sterile live service, and me and Roger were talking about this last week on the podcast, saying that this is the make or break for live service games. If this game doesn't turn out to be anything, live service games are probably going to be like not much of a thing anymore. There's going to be far and few in between. It's
Well, the
not going to
thing
be
is,
something that the game
you
companies
know,
chase
how
after.
many people want to sit there and play these games for, 10, 20 hours a week, every week for like 10 years? Like, the biggest thing is, like, we saw, like, Reddit was, for me, I always go on Reddit and I take a look there and people are like, how to kill a game in 30 seconds. And they showed the loadout screen for Harley Quinn and they were like, dead, game's DOA, boys. And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah. I don't, like, as soon as I saw that, I was like, I'm not buying this game. I'm
Yeah.
literally not going to play this.
It seems like each character that you play as plays exactly the same. Like there's no like distinguishable differences. Like Sharkhead should be able to bite someone's head off. Can't do that in a game. Harley Quinn should have a baseball bat and be able to knock heads off. Like where are the actual legitimate things here? Like everyone has a gun and everyone's shooting purple shit. That's the meme right now. Like oh cool, we're just killing more purple shit. Like that's all you're doing in the game. So I'm glad that they're delaying this and trying to figure out what to do because if Marvel Avengers didn't do good, I guarantee you this game is not going to do good because Marvel is way bigger than
Well,
DC.
look at Gotham City Knights.
Yeah, Gotham Knights, yeah, flopped hard. Like, but the thing is, like, DC
I
is in a
forgot
bad
it even
spot.
came out, dude. I'm
Yep,
so
that's
mad.
that's all you need. I mean, DC needs a win.
Yeah,
They
do.
really do, and
Like,
I mean,
their
this was
movie.
not fucking it. I swear to God, somebody on the inside actually has been sabotaging that. Like,
Yeah,
Like their movies have been like we had one good movie recently, and this could be the chance for DC to come back. And then they're like, let's do this whole Flash movie, and we're like, okay. And
Flash
they're like,
looks good.
check out who we cast for this movie, and they're like,
Mhm.
it's only his third drug bust violence
Yeah.
charge. You're like,
Yeah,
what? They're
Grant,
like,
Grant
we're
Gustin is
gonna-
my Flash. That's you're gonna hate watch the Flash, Spooky. I
Yeah,
feel
same.
you.
Same.
I feel
I'm
you.
gonna hate watch it too. 50% of the movie is Batman doing all the heavy lifting, and I'm like, I guess I'm gonna watch Batman, the fastest man alive.
Yeah.
Like,
but you can't
The
forget about
best is
Supergirl. She's in there too.
yeah. And that's the other thing. When they were like, Kara's gonna be there, I was like, okay, so Flash is just kind of like,
Cool.
But we
a
can't forget
side
about
character.
DC's next big movie though. Shazam is right around the corner, and
it is. But
Not-
like,
I'm
we
not
just had
spoiling it. I
Black
don't-
Adam,
right, Black Adam.
and they decided that shit isn't canonical now, and I'm like, guys,
are
please.
you
And they were like, everyone wants Henry Cavill. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, yeah. Which we're
He's
gonna talk about him later on this episode. But yeah, DC needs to get their shit together. But moving on here, I'm gonna cover the next one here. Metal Hellsinger, one of the games I played on my stream, one of the games that's on the YouTube channel for Shoot to Win, was this game. It was one of those rhythm shooter games, and it was a lot of fun. Roger, I recommended it for you to play on your stream on Sunday.
You requested it
yeah,
with
requested
a
it.
game request.
So you weren't really thrilled about this game. it was manageable. I know you get pissed off towards the end there, but it's getting its first DLC called Dream of the Beast. It's getting two new songs, which are like levels basically, by Christina Scabia from Lacuna Coil, and then Will Ramos from Lorna Shore. And then you're also getting a new gun, the Red Right Hand, which is a machine gun, which is pretty cool. Three new outfits that are going to provide unique gameplay modifiers. So, will I check this out? Only if I get access to this via Game Pass. I'm not, because I play the game via Game Pass for free. I'm not buying the DLC. Like that's not how that shit works. You know what I'm saying? So, enough of Metal Hellsinger. Call of Duty had some good news? Question mark
They
here.
did. So they did. So Modern Warfare 2019, Black Ops Cold War, and Vanguard are now available on Steam. And so,
Why?
No,
yeah, like
it's because it comes
so
to a
just
better
exactly
it
was
comes to a
like,
bigger audience because obviously most people
so
prefer
Like,
Steam,
I
but they're
mean,
older
like,
games no one wants to play.
nobody plays Call of
yeah,
Duty for the story, so
But can I play just a side remark here because I put in the notes mod community question mark
you
and
did,
I
you
mention
did.
this because of zombies. Zombies is in Cold War and Vanguard, and zombies whenever it gets a mod community does phenomenal. Like zombies, like where the people can create maps, custom maps, like whatever it is. That's where zombies really shines is in those custom maps, custom game modes
but are
within
we
zombies.
getting workshop support?
Yeah, usually any game that's on Steam gets
Yeah,
good.
I mean,
No, not any
Every
game.
every Call of Duty that has come to Steam has got workshop support.
and
Okay, 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 okay.
when we were going over the itinerary, we were looking at mod community. I was looking. I mean, there's mod communities all over the place for this shit.
Hmm.
I mean, there really is. I mean, it'll be there. I just, I'm gonna feel so salty if 2019 Black Ops, like the Cold War and Vanguard, all get mods and go from there, and we still don't get a decent working anti-cheat in a current
Right,
fucking Modern Warfare game.
right.
Sorry, I don't know how about the F-bomb use in here.
No, you're good.
However, speaking of current Modern Warfare 2, Season 2 Reloaded, we are getting a new iconic character, and that is going to be Shredder from
Yes,
Teenage
sir.
Mutant Ninja Turtles.
He looks
Heard I
badass. He looks
he looks
badass.
he looks thick. I will be buying that because I'm a glutton for nostalgia. Yeah, I can't wait. So we're getting raid episode 2. This time you won't need a raid assignment to actually enter the content. So anybody who owns Modern Warfare 2 can jump in, which is going to be awesome. Uh, I feel like there were some skill issues allowing a lot of people into the raids,
Yeah.
based off of the previous criteria.
You had to do a certain challenge to get the card to go into it, and
Yeah,
like if you weren't good, you weren't getting the
yeah,
card, then you weren't playing the raid. So that
yeah.
SOL.
So yeah, so you were kind of you like you said you were SOL on that, so it's nice to just be like able to go in and do a raid.
Yeah.
Um, on top of that, we're getting the new 6v6 map, Himmelmott Expo.
A new map.
Sir,
A new map.
like
Not
dude,
quotation news. Like it's capital NEW.
bright shiny, like stretch, like fresh off the factory floor, new.
And
So
then we find out we get into it. It's just like a reskin of like an older Call of Duty map from like Call of Duty 2 or something.
yeah, absolutely. They just been rework, unbeknownst to us, they just been reworking the first 2 Call of Duties and just pushed it out. But that is coming out March 15th. So we'll have that
Couple days
reloaded
from
coming
now.
here in a few days. So that'll add some fresh new moments for hype to get in there, and I can't wait to absolutely get shredded as Shredder.
I love it. I
Uh,
love it.
yeah, but with that, we're also looking at some other collaborations here. What's going on over in Overwatch 2, Roger?
So, as many of you know, this week we saw the release of the One Punch Man collaboration for Overwatch 2. This is actually one of the first collaborations we've seen
Hmm.
out of Overwatch. And in this, you get 4 skins, 1 for doing events, 3 if you purchase. You can get Doomfist as Saitama, you can get Genji as Genos, you can get Soldier 76 as the Moomin Rider, and then you can get Kiriko as Terrible Tornado. Honestly, the skins aren't that great unless we're looking at just Saitama as Doomfist, which is awesome.
Hmm.
And the fact that you get a free skin is pretty cool. And you get like 8 rewards, I think it is, for Soldier 76 just from playing events last week up into the next 2.
Yeah,
So
second
it's
day.
it's pretty cool. You get like 8 free things for just playing. But honestly, I think this is the future of where we could go. And Condom Hat
He
Soldier.
said Condom
Yeah.
Hat Soldier is the best. Yes, sir, Spooky.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
I mean, these games are
Eh,
really just looking at Call of Duty and Overwatch 2 now, are just following in the footsteps of Fortnite, making those
Yeah.
crossover events, them
And that's what
collaborations.
some people are afraid of, though.
Yeah.
That I see as a big concern for
That
communities. They're like,
That
when does
Fortnite effect.
Overwatch lose its, originality? When
Yeah.
does it lose its self-identity and just become
A different, yeah.
Fortnite the 5v5?
Yeah.
True. I'm interested to see what happens with the skins because I think we do know a couple people that have been otherwise maybe slated by skins previously from Overwatch 2. Sorry, Disney.
Disney.
Yes, hopefully these ones work for you if you get them. I mean, they're free, so if
Yeah,
you
we'll
don't,
see.
it's that big.
I'm just curious to see, like you said, if they do any more collaborations, how often. Because Call of Duty's trying to limit to like one maybe per season, where like Fortnite's like, who can we come up with today?
Yo, we just dropped Naruto, Shadow dropped him,
Yeah,
Clay
just,
boys, and it's like,
yeah.
what? Like,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, like
Hey,
so
we've been
much-
we've been having some issues with the game. We're wondering if we can get something cool or fresh. Oh, sweet! Here's Piccolo and Gohan.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
Oh,
all right,
okay.
cool, I
You need
guess.
more? Here's some more.
that makes everything go away.
They're gonna drop Saltman in Fortnite here soon too.
I mean, those dudes are making so much fucking money off of Fortnite, but
God, it's so disgusting.
let's talk about Nintendo real quick here. So Nintendo had some big news and also some bad big news.
Yeah.
The Pokemon Scarlet and Violet update that we got last week has decided that it's going to resurface a bug we saw after the first update on Scarlet and Violet. Save files are being deleted yet again. What a crazy time to be alive where we release updates that will delete your save file. I feel like I'm playing video games with my cousin here.
Oh
Looking
no,
at you.
no,
Looking at
no,
you, bud.
no.
Deleting my save files.
I accidentally deleted his file from the game called Slay
Accidentally,
on,
bud.
on PlayStation 2.
Fucking whipped his ass and he's like, oh shit, I accidentally deleted your save file, bro. Sorry.
Oh man, that's the equivalent of like being back when you had system links for Game Boys and you were whooping somebody's ass in Pokemon. They're like, oh my cord's being weird. Oh my battery's died. Oh, I deleted your Slay data. Nice
Oh,
one,
man.
Nick.
Yeah, so Pokemon Scarlet and Violet has just got this bug yet again. This is the second time they've had this bug. And
I'm not gonna
on
lie,
some
I'd be
better-
pissed. Like, what if I'm on like I don't know
Yeah.
how badges work in this game.
That
but
is-
if
that's
I
a
have
massive
7 out of
event.
8 badges and the game's like, yep, deleted. I'm like, yep.
Well, and it's
sold.
not
I'm not-
badges anymore.
Yeah.
It's badges. It is like you have to beat five raids is what they are. Like you raid these forts. So like Team Rocket's not a thing. There's no like big villain society. It's just a gang of bullies at school that you have to beat up 5 times. You've got like these 5
Yeah,
or
I
6
don't even start there,
giant Terra
Spooky.
Pokemon and 8 gyms, and like you have your full competitive team or you're playing through the game and it's gone.
So-
Yep.
Yeah, they don't care, Spooky. That's the point. They
That,
just, they
that
just
would be
don't
the day
care.
I sell that game back to
Your full
GameStop.
competitive team. Oh man, I'd
How
throw it
much
at the
you
window
pay for
and then
this?
throw
50
mine.
cents? Fuck yeah, I'll give it to you for
Yeah,
free.
give it to me. You know what? Keep it. Keep
I'll
the 50 cents.
I'll pay GameStop to take this game back.
You guys got a tip jar? Go make one quick because that's where my trade-in cash is going.
I feel like I'm
Right.
office space on my fucking my cartridge.
Well, that is. I mean, that is a level 1 failure.
Yeah. That
And
is,
it is
that
a
is
huge one. You're
reprehensible.
deleting
Do they have a
save.
Q&A testers? Like, do they have any of those?
I don't know what's going on at Nintendo lately, but let's talk about some better news because we're running out of time here today. Mario Kart 8 did like shadow drop their next new course pack. I don't think we really talked about it unless we talked about it while I wasn't here. Course pack 4 just dropped last week. And it comes with 5 new character spaces on the roster,
Well,
a rebalancing.
It wasn't
and
like,
all
it
the-
wasn't the next drop yet. It was just like a system update.
No, the next drop came out.
Oh, okay.
See,
'Cause,
Pass 4 is already out.
okay.
Yeah, Course Pack 4, Wave 4 dropped on the 8th. They just like dropped
Yeah.
it, and they were like,
There was
"Yep,
like
there you go."
6
And we're like, "Oh, okay."
I didn't
so
even
there's
see any
8
news
new-
about it. That's crazy.
There are 8 new courses. You've got Tour Amsterdam, GBA Riverside, Wii DK Summit, Yoshi's Island, Tour Bangkok Rush, DS Mario Circuit, GCN Waluigi Stadium and Tour Singapore Speedway, as well as a rebalancing. So all small characters had a rebalancing on their stats because people would the competitive or online community was only playing heavy characters because they had such a big advantage over small characters
Hmm.
that it just there was no point in playing it even if you had a good build. If you messed up once, that was it. The big characters, they were like, well, they have just an unfair advantage due to the way the carts work, so they were like, we're going to rebalance that. So this is the first time we've seen a rebalancing in a game that's been out for so
Yeah.
many years, like
Right.
Mario Kart. And they're also going to add 5 new characters, it looks like, because they added 5 new spaces for characters in addition to these courses.
Yeah,
Um,
that's for that new Fortnite crossover.
yeah, with Mario.
I get.
But the curious thing is who are they really adding though? Like, I vote for that they bring in Diddy Kong. Like that just makes the most sense. Like I remember playing Diddy Kong Racing on the
Man,
N64.
that game was lit.
Like
Where
I,
we get when we get in Sonic, real talk, Sonic, because we had
Hey,
Mario
yeah,
Sonic Racing. When does Sonic join in Mario Kart to really show them?
imagine that shadow drop. Like
hey,
Yeah,
there we go. Literally
we
a
added
shadow
Sonic.
drop. Literally a shadow drop. You got Sonic, you got
and
Shadow, you got
shadow,
Red.
you drop
And one
shadow
of
in
its
there.
skins is Shadow. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
you got him. Oh man.
I
So,
love it.
but moving on here. So, looking at some other things that are getting released here. That I mean, we've been laughing a little bit so far. So we can move that in with PlayStation announcing the GameStop meme movie. Uh, I would like to preface this by saying stonks for sure.
If the
Stonks.
movie
Uh,
isn't called Stonks, I'd be upset.
It just needs to be called Game Stonks. That's what it needs to do.
Stonks, yeah.
That's what it needs to do. But no, so they're going to be pushing this the stock movie that's going to be covering the entire situation resolving the short selling of GameStop, GME. I know I can't say it now; it just rolls right off the tongue. But we're gonna have Paul Dano, Seth Rogen, and Nick Offerman as I assume would be the main three. So we're gonna. I mean, that already looks like it's gonna be fun. I'm absolutely gonna go see this. Thanks to GameStop, I was able to pay off a remaining balance of a vehicle. It wasn't a lot. Wasn't a lot. It was a 20-year-old. It was a 20-year-old BMW, but I still had like another like $2,000 on it. So
yeah,
I got rid of that. That my
$2,000
Doge.
you didn't have.
That's $2,000 I didn't have,
right.
and then that's $2,000 that the government got that tax year. It was bullshit. Anyway, but moving up to an actual announcement that's gonna make a lot of people happy here is we got the latest system update, which is out now, and this has Discord voice chat finally, and they got the 1440p VRR support. So they're making, I mean, 2 moves there that I think are definitely gonna be well received, especially in the Discord
Definitely.
voice chat.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
I got to use
we're
it
talking-
today. I was playing Warzone today with my friend Nito from Shoot to Win, and he was on PS5. I'm on Xbox Series X. Hopped in a Discord chat together. It just worked, and
Good.
it sounded great. No issues, no connectivity issues.
And
It just
what
worked.
what's really important here is this is a milestone that we need. This is the cross console, cross system. This is the cross play integration that will bring us into the next generation of gaming
and
on
that's what
all
we need.
systems.
It's exactly
like-
what we need. It's huge.
This is the way that you can now invite players from Xbox or PC or PlayStation to your game without having to have like some third party ID like your Activision ID or
You still need
having
that.
to have. That's the thing. When you
Yep.
have Discord, this is the future. Discord is doing this now with other computer games, like the fact that I can play Yu-Gi-Oh! Omega. It's the Yu-Gi-Oh! Sim where you don't have to pay to play or anything. It's
Yeah.
just a free sim, and it ties into Discord to invite people into my game. This
Okay.
is where we're going with Discord.
Yeah, I hope
the
they add
ability
that to
just go
console.
in your friends list.
I hope they
Yeah.
add that to console because you can't do that on console
Yeah.
right now. I can just
Yeah,
join
but
servers
that's
like
the
voice
future we're
voice
looking at.
channels. Yeah. So that's going to be exciting. But yeah, we can't brush over the 1440p VRR support because the
Yeah, that's
PlayStation
massive
supports
for them.
the 1440p resolution and now it supports the VRR and that's huge for like shooter games like Call of Duty. If I'm playing at 1440p on my monitor, I need to have that variable refresh rate to be able to keep up with that. So that's going to be some killer news. But moving on to
yeah.
our last gaming news of the week, of course we got to end it with Xbox as always. Kicking it off with some bad news, I say, but in a way that I'm okay with because we have so much shit coming out over the next couple of months. Starfield is being delayed until September 6th, but Starfield Direct will take place on June 11th, right after the Xbox and Bethesda showcase, which is all part of the Summer Games Fest, E3, whatever. It's on Sunday, so you got the Xbox event, and then you'll have a separate Starfield event right after. So I'm really excited for that because we're going to be streaming that as well. I'm going to make sure I'm off work that day so we can follow that up. But some better news here: Halo Infinite had an update. It is bringing ray tracing to Xbox Series X soon, but it is already available on PC, and that is a really, really great update right there. Not only did the game already look good, it's going to look better. Roger, did you play Halo Infinite on your PC then? Right?
Yeah.
How did it look? It probably looked really well, but now it's going to look
Yeah.
even better with ray tracing.
It looked amazing. I was really happy with how Halo Infinite turned out, especially with the draw distance that we got out of the game.
Mm,
It felt good. And to see ray tracing now,
yeah.
I don't think that game really taxed my PC, but I'm ready to light my computer on fire.
Yeah, but
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean, Halo right now is in a pretty good stride with the season 3 update. It brought like the biggest content to the game. It's including the community playlist now that you can earn XP while playing on for the first time. Like Halo is starting to get that content stride, both from the developer and then also tying in like, all right, that map is really dope that you made over there.
Let's
Dragon
play it.
Slayer 1212.
Oh, and that's the thing. Like we had community playlists for a
Playlists.
long time. Jenga Tower was something somebody
Mhm.
created, and they were like,
Damn
"This is
straight.
fucking awesome."
Yeah,
Griffball
Halo
was
3.
a content
Griffball,
player,
baby.
dude.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
It's basically how Stella got her groove back, but for Halo Infinite. So I can't wait to see. I'm definitely gonna be hopping back in. I might add that to the list. We'll see.
Yeah. I've actually been wanting. I have Halo Infinite installed on my Xbox still because I want to play multiplayer again, but it's not a game that I'm playing by myself. I just it's
Yeah.
just not going to be fun by yourself. This is a game I want to hop in with friends, check out those custom maps, check out those custom game modes, and have a blast and earn them XP and hopefully get some awards there.
Yeah.
But some new exciting additions here for hardware controller. They're getting a new controller for the Velocity Green controller, so it's the Xbox Green, and it's this bright green. It's not this highlighter green that we got here. It's the official green there. So I want to eventually add it there, but I want to get the Lunar Shift, the purple one that they got. I need that one ASAP. But interesting enough, they partnered up with Oreo, and you can win a custom Xbox Series S and controller. And this thing just looks like a big ass cookie, Oreo cookie. So they constantly do
Oh,
these
yeah.
crossovers, and it's just blowing PlayStation out of the water. Who wants that LeBron James plate?
Where are my God of War plates?
Like I don't.
Seriously, what the fuck? Like, why don't they exist? It
I
literally was free money. They could literally print money with that.
Yeah, mind blowing. Xbox is like, oh, you want this? You want that? We're just gonna do it.
Oh, you want plates for your PlayStation? Let's give you orange, red, green.
you go.
You'll like it, whatever.
Yeah.
Well,
Um,
find me the cheapest pastel colors in the Easter section, and let's go ahead and make plates.
Yeah. Um. What's crazy though about the plates, they made a big deal about this
They
third
sued
party.
somebody.
Yeah, they sued somebody
They
about
cease
making
and
plates.
desist somebody,
So
and then they were like, "Yeah, we're not gonna really do this."
mind blowing. But talking about Game Pass here, Game Pass editions, Guilty Gear Strive came to cloud, console, and PC the other day, so that's available now. Dead Space 2 and 3, the originals from the 360, are available now via cloud. They were already there for console and PC. So that's just coming off the hype of Dead Space 1 remake. Go check out 2 and 3, unless you want to wait around for the remakes of those. Big one here, though. Valheim is officially now on, or coming to console here in a couple of days on the 14th. I'm really curious to see. I haven't looked into it much. Does this support crossplay or not? Because I know a lot of guys at Lunacy Arts, they play Valheim on PC, and maybe if I can hop on the Xbox, maybe I can check it out a little bit more. But last up here is that we got Civilization 6 coming to cloud, console, and PC on March 16th. So this is a massive game. I know this is a really big sim here. Roger, is this going to be ones that you check out on Game Pass day one?
No,
No, not Civ 6. This is not it for you.
no, I own Civ 6 on PC. Why play with
Oh.
the?
I was waiting for it.
Okay,
I was
he
I was
already
waiting
bought
for
it.
I was like, there it is.
Oh my god!
Man, I
Why
even
would
have
you-
Civ 6.
Oh,
Why
really?
would you play Sim 6 with a dumbed down, stupid control scheme? You have a mouse and keyboard for a reason.
I didn't know that, but it's free. It's on PC. But you can also hook up keyboard and mouse to Xbox, so there's no excuses. But some unfortunate news: games are leaving on the 15th here, so this week. But none of them are really big except for maybe one. We got
Yeah, Goat
F1.
Simulator.
Yeah, Goat Simulator. F1 2020 is leaving. Goat Simulator, Kentucky Route Zero, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, Paradise Killer, Undertale, Young Souls, and Zero Escape, the Notary games. Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy is probably the only one I'd be like, make sure you check out in 3 days if you can beat it that quick. If not, you get a discount for like 20% off before it leaves, so make sure you pick that up if you haven't. But that's all our gaming news for the week. Let's kick it off with our leaks and rumors. I'm just going to continue on here with our Xbox news. This was a big game last year. Indie developed game Neon White could be coming to Xbox because it got its official ESRB rating for Xbox. But and then people that may not know, this is a first-person shooter puzzle platformer game developed by Angel Matrix and it's published by Annapurna, which is a really big publisher. But my question is this coming to Game Pass? Because I think this would be a solid addition for Game Pass. And this has been a game on my radar that I was like, it has an interesting playstyle. It kind of has like that, like card system, but it has like that Mirror's Edge kind of playstyle in a way. So it's a really curious game. So I'd be really eager to see if it comes to the
It's a
Game Pass.
speedrunner game
Yeah,
too. It's
yeah,
one of the big things. It's like games at speedrunning competitions traditionally aren't built as a speedrunning game, but that's what this is. And
yeah,
honestly, it looked good. It's something that you would want to play, quick and fast, and it's quite interesting.
yeah. And Roger, Rockstar had some potential update here.
Yeah, potentially targeting a release date holiday next year. We could see GTA 6, not this year, but next year.
I think that'd be a pretty prominent target release date. Because as of right now, we don't have anything in in the holiday season other than the next Call of Duty, which we know is the number one selling game every year, year and out. But GTA 6 could dethrone Call of Duty that year because we know how massive GTA
Yeah,
5 is.
yeah.
And remember, Call of Duty is every other year now.
Yeah, potentially that's a whole nother subject we can talk on another day. But speaking of Call of Duty, if you want to round out our rumors and leaks here, Scott.
Yes, sir. So speaking of Call of Duty, and I feel like Lewis from Ant Man. This person said this person said this person, and then this person, and then
Yeah,
remember from back when.
yeah.
So, it is a new rumor. This is reported by EarlyGame.com, who got the report from Giant Freaking Robot, who claims their sources came from them directly. Uh, that Henry Cavill will be Captain Price in an upcoming Call of Duty movie.
That's pretty badass. I'm not even gonna
Color,
lie.
color me interested. Color me interested. I really hope that he doesn't get some of the flack that he's gotten for The Witcher, for being too close to the story or anything like that. But just watching him, I'm already picturing like I wake up and I'm in a cold sweat because I had Henry Cavill just walking and just pulling that
The
cigar
cigar.
out and just calling me a bitch or something like.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't wait.
Going dark.
I hope that's true. Yeah, going dark like Bravo 6, going dark. And it's gonna be Henry fucking Cavill. Can't wait. When I was looking at that, you see all the side by sides and like give him those. I want to see him with the chops. I want to see
Yeah.
him with all of it.
That
I can't wait.
scruffy look.
Yeah, if that's not scruffy. That's fucking like
That's
I was
Like a
gonna
British.
say
mutton chop.
lumberjack, but that's fucking that is Captain Price. I can't. It's not even like
Price
oh
chop.
you have scruffy, you have lumberjack, you have Captain fucking Price mutton chops, and I can't wait. That's gonna be sick if that's true. And those side by sides looked great. So
Yeah.
hopefully that is gonna be no longer a rumor here in the very near future.
Yeah, all for it. So that's all of our news, leaks, rumors, everything that's coming out this last week or coming up here this week. So we want to close out our episode here by thanking everyone who checked us out live today on Twitch, and also anybody who does check us out later on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. But Roger, where can everyone find you at?
Hey, you can find me at twitch.tv/lunatic underscore oblivion, and my Twitter is lunatic oblivion with no space. Oh, no underscore.
And Scott, where can everyone find you at?
Well, as always, you can find me on one of their two Twitches during game nights. If you are on Discord, you can hit me up at Scoby1. My number is 9369. Facebook, Scott Roby. Twitter, Scoby1. And that's about it.
Awesome. And of course, you can check me over at Twitter at Mr. Never Chillin underscore. Xbox is X Never Space Chillin. You want to game party up, hit me up there. Facebook is Vic Brubacher for any question, concerns, or if you want to come on the show. And of course, I'm streaming over at my Twitch at twitch.tv/ Mr. Never Chillin. Currently playing through Atomic Heart and soon to be Rage 2. But we want to thank everyone again. But until next time, peace.
Thanks for hanging out.
Press start podcast.